it has been working and all of a sudden it doesn't. That's when I have seen real freakouts occur.
Don't rely on Google. Google ads now are localized.
Every leader needs a trusted partner for the moments that matter. This Bold Business Podcast conversation is that partnership. Your go-to resource designed to break the inertia and refresh your perspective so you can start making moves. Here is your host, an insightful truth teller who serves as the catalyst for getting the right work done and who asks the questions that truly matter. Jess Dewell.
In this Bold Business Podcast, we're talking about not doing things halfway. When you make a choice and make a decision to do something, have a clear understanding of what the outcome is, working backwards to what the action steps are for the results that you want. And how does that align to the bigger strategy and an accountability? Today, you're going to hear my conversation with Rihab Abouzaki, who grew up surrounded by journalists, broadcasters, and professionals. And the work that she grew up within shaped the public conversation across the Middle East. Marketing, advertising is in her blood. She started her career early on and worked in many different capacities for branding and advertising in the luxury areas. Now, here's something I really want you to know. I really like her straightforwardness. And I really like how candid she is and saying, hey, here's what I stand for, and here's where I am. Because it makes it easy, by the way, as a podcast host, but also as a peer, also as just in a conversation with somebody who's passionate about what they do, like I'm passionate about what I do, to find common ground quickly. And you're going to pick that up in our conversation. There are 3 areas to watch out for, and each one it has some depth with it throughout the show. The first is still the most important in advertising and marketing is a single clear message. And it happens on the right medium. It does not have to change or move fast. It can be the same clear message in the same right medium. The second thing is going to be, we talk about what you can do when your advertising stops working or stalls, because it happens to every company at some point. And what do you do about it? Rehab's going to share some of that with you. Also, starting with the end in mind to drive your solutions in advertising is exactly where to start. When we think about today's marketplace, one of the biggest opportunities that I have seen is how much more accessible audio, video marketing across other channels typically reserved for conglomerates, whether they be national or multinational, to have access to. What is your take on that today? Am I right in that feeling, or is there something else that we need to know or regarding accessibility regarding these cool things?
Yes, accessibility is available and it's important and it's spread a lot. But also with that came authenticity problems. There are serious problems in terms of authentic content and authentic message and deliverables. Always advertising needs deliverables. So any advertiser must deliver what they are promising to client, and this is not happening on so many social media platforms and so many other mediums.
Can you define one area that if you were to stop, assess, and take action on to get closer to giving the deliverable that has been promised? Is there one thing a company could start with?
Yes, don't rely on Google. Google ads now are localized. It is by radius of 50 miles or certain country, and it has limitations. The algorithm does not shift an advertisement in any way that serves like used to be. It's like an open secret that Google now is a very localized service. Like you search, and even if you don't put Washington, for example, and you're searching for something, it brings Washington first, and then it brings all ads in that area and all content of that area geographically, while it should be the usual and the previous norm was that it should be picking up from who picked Washington as a target area. So those are 2 different things, and now they are very different and they are affecting performance for sure.
And I'm thinking about the small business owner, the mid-market business owner, right? So what I just heard you say was something that used to be able to get every company, regardless of size, provided they were national or internationally servicing their clients. It's harder and harder to do that in the mainstream adopted ways because everything has become localized.
Yes.
And then you take that one step further, and then it's, so why would I even think about having a national or international market?
This is what is not being told to advertisers, that the Google algorithm and the Instagram algorithm and the Meta all together is being localized and is being like having a priority of localization. Means even if it's meant to be localized, it ends up giving a shorter list and making it harder to appear in the target market as a plan. Now it's plan and then get struggles between the AI search engines and the AI algorithms and the meta algorithms, and all together they mix up and they get a mess in the results of your advertising. The most important is the bots that are showing wrong data, especially on Meta. Meta has really, like for example, Instagram, they admitted that they have 95 million bots that are allowed to respond to advertising. Those can damage your results for sure.
Okay, so let's think about if I'm, as a mid-market company, I'm looking to advertise. I can provide my services to clients that are located all over my country. What's the opportunity for me to reach them in a digital fashion then today?
Clarify the message first, do the homework internally, and then make sure that you would choose the right medium of advertising, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's appearing on podcasts or creating your own podcast or digital streaming TV advertising. This is one of the highest authentic ways. But Meta and Instagram, I know we do them, but I really don't think they are the most return on investment.
So
This time.
customized to the unique selling proposition, the clientele, where connection can occur.
Usually, it's when you create a dialogue, when you understand your clients. Of course, everything online has to be running and smoothly accepting leads, but the lead magnets and all should be in place. This is, of course, the basics now. But also connecting to clients through a clear message. I suggest and always think that the best return on investment is streaming TV, especially in the US and right now.
So that fascinates me. I've had a podcast for 9 years, Rihab, and I will tell you what, it never occurred to me to do a commercial.
Yes.
You may be right, but I'm thinking, what if that's where a listener was in some group of some streaming platform, because we stream it, because we're online, because we're on YouTube, and we never made that gap. So after talking with you before the show, right? And now here we are recording. I wanted to say that out loud for everybody listening because it may not be right, but it may be right, and we've never thought about it. I do know it was an eye-opener to say, I've been doing online presence related things as a podcast host and as the business owner longer than 9 years. And there's still so much to learn that we don't know what we don't know. And so coming with a beginner's mindset could be the exact right thing, starting with what you said, having a clear message and then finding the right medium for it.
Every time I think I know everything, I get a humbling story with AI, with the new technologies, with the new generation, with everything happening. The pace is too fast, and probably the algorithms are not catching up with us. The algorithms are changing. Like, every day, some new technology tries to get attention. It's the economy of attention. And with podcasts, yes, you create a message, you create authenticity. But when it comes to selling something, you need people to listen to you in their peaceful mind, in their time where they are enjoying a movie, enjoying a good quality time. Bombarding people on Instagram is not anymore the proper idea.
Feeling stuck? Like, what got you here won't get you there. The pressure to grow is on, yet the path isn't clear yet. You don't have to walk that path alone. This is the Bold Business Podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you listen. Your host, Jess Dewell, is the strategic partner you've been looking for, asking the questions that truly matter. It's time to break the inertia and get the perspective you need to make your next move.
This is the Bold Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jess Dewell. Today, we're talking to Rihab Abouzaki. Company leadership has so many pressures these days. There's so many things you mentioned. Everything's changing fast. It's more than just technology about how marketing works. It's in technology for everything, or the speed with which customer expectations change. And so if I'm thinking about the CEOs that we both work with, what is something that's really important for them to consider in relationship to their next quarterly planning, when they next pause to look out past the day to day so that they can do something to make sure that their marketing does not fall behind?
Actually, I just wrote something on LinkedIn related. I feel like as an entrepreneur, as a business person, I feel like I lived several lives. It feels like you, as a person, as a leader, you have lived several lives. Every time you think you know, and then you start knowing again, and the systems all upgrade and the systems introduce something that you have to catch up with. This is what's happening to everybody. Whether you have a clinic, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, any sector of business, whether you have a product, life rhythm now and the level of online attention is very fast for all of us. So thinking ahead and planning now is a real task. You have to calculate in the middle of your planning what is going to happen and what is going to be introduced so that you can catch up with it. So that's why when we work with a client, we always ask them to stress less about that because it's a real problem for them. And the best way to control this is to keep your pace, to keep your focus on a clear message, and do not get day-to-day distractions online with what's happening in terms of attention. Don't strive to get into the AI mania. Process things in your pace, because even others, your clients, your target market is processing in their own time. The systems are not coping with us properly.
Okay, that is huge, Rihab. Go at your own pace, regardless of the pace of technology. And then the next part of something that you said, I'd like to dig in a little bit more, is that I heard you say a single clear message is better than being up to date on the most current technology.
Yes.
Can you go into a little bit more of why it's more important today than even 3 years ago for this consistent, clear message?
Because the challenge is so big and you have, end of the day, limited budget. Nobody has open budgets to keep trying everything happening and everything is being introduced in the market. You need to have focus on your message first and foremost, and then you listen to the market. Do not be obsolete of the target market, what they are asking you. And this by research, by search, by listening to what's happening online, as you can adapt as much as possible. But then for deliverables, you need to take your own pace. This is very important because your customers are also taking their own pace. Nobody is shifting as fast as the AI other than the AI companies. It's really like an unrealistic level of incorporation of AI into our corporate systems. It doesn't work like that, and it's not needed. And AI is just a search system that accumulates data and that can be repetitive, and it's not always as efficient as people are giving it credit for.
I think there's still a lot of learning happening for sure. And that makes me think, you mentioned some crazy number of bots happening on social media that are doing responding and things like that. That's outside of DMs, even just commenting on posts to create engagement. So if you're watching and you're part of a community, you might actually be a community with just a few humans and in relationship to bots.
Yes, bots can affect your advertising. There are two levels. One is technological, that bots can affect your results, and the other one is the crowded area of Instagram and Meta in general that is affecting the credibility of advertisers. Like, people now don't believe after 5 courses online that didn't work for a person, they wouldn't register for the sixth one. There is a problem of credibility of those gurus with a camera and phone. and they try to sell you something and then they fail, or it's very unrealistic. And that created a big gap between the people who are seeing the ad and the people who are the authentic companies that are behind the ad. So there is a mistrust. Now we are in an area of complete mistrust on online, especially consulting and trade courses
Yeah.
level, and some products also that they just advertise. It doesn't reach anywhere. When they engage, it's just
So here's a random thought, and let's see if I can get back to it because it comes to this concept of mistrust. There is a movement right now that, and I know it's been happening for a while. I think it actually started back in 2018, 2019, maybe even earlier than that, is sell your product and then build it. Have you heard of this?
yes, like it's failed miserably, and then they have a product and they sell it, but it's not really authentic. For example, drop shipping. Drop shipping has took its own height, and then it failed miserably because you cannot drop ship. You cannot control the elements of delivery when you are not in control of the product and the inventory. This is one. And the other, consulting. Consulting has completely messed up the real authentic business and coaching business. It's really a jungle out there. So many people has they tried everything and then they created a system and it reached nowhere because when they advertise, they sell you a course and or a consultancy that does not shift your company forward or does not really give you your results, and end up like you don't trust the medium altogether. We are not getting that on streaming TV. That's the lucky part about streaming TV in the US. First, it's a free market. It's a 300 plus channels and it is authentic. It is authenticated by FCC. It's not a gimmick and very hard to trap on it. It's an authentic place where if you have a limited budget, put it in the wise place. If you think that the US is your market, just do not try to reach through Instagram gimmicks. They don't work. They don't work, especially from out of town.
So I'm thinking about supply chain, right? Some companies who have a product, who have brought on people who are selling the product for them, whether it's dropship or a pass through for fulfillment, it doesn't matter. The affiliates or the dropshippers actually have to wait for product in some capacity and they're in front of any company. And so those are small companies. The companies who are actually setting up that scenario do have a responsibility to those people. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who think that would be a great side gig. That would be a great addition to the business that we already have because we have a similar product. And I will tell you what, the credibility that goes with not being able to keep your word because of something that is outside of your control. By the way, it could be a really great company you've partnered with to do this, and it's outside of their control.
Yes.
But it's diluted and then it's just a big mess. And it's really hard to be accountable in scenarios like that.
Yeah. And actually, advertising now is not as expensive as it used to be.
Right.
It's very affordable, so you don't have to risk it in terms of using the shortcut or like you call it band-aid marketing. It doesn't work like that. It's just the idea is confine your budget in a strategy that has testing. So you test the market and you keep flexibility of moving your message forward so that if anything is not giving results, you can amend and move forward. This is the beauty of having all that technology around us.
So I'm thinking about alignment, right? This comes back to the clarity of message. What are some tips that you can give to ensure there's alignment in starting something new, or I'm going to call it expansion, right? Dabbling in a different area or a different focus of the same thing, because I think that's really where the clarity of message could be lost.
Yes, a clear message and clear target. Like sometimes the market surprise you, like you put out there a message and someone else from the target market picks it up. Like for example, you are targeting, for example, middle-aged women, and then youngsters your product. That's not a bad thing. Sometimes expansion happens authentically and organically. But to become a result oriented advertiser, you need to be bold. You need to be not attached to your product, not attached to the idea. Like when you are testing an idea, it's okay, let it be. Sometimes my best ideas just go to garbage. Just go on, move on. Do not get attached to the idea of the briefing. The rhythm is so fast that an idea can become viral or can be dropped out just as easy as on daily basis. It used to take a month or two to get a result of advertising campaign. Now on daily basis you can test it. This is really a very important feature that you can benefit as a middle company, as a middle level company, that you don't waste money.
If your week feels like you're being pulled from one demand to the next, this is for you. The daily grind is the #1 killer of business instinct, pulling you and your team away from your vision. Reclaim your strategic edge with the Present Retreat. This free guide from Red Direction is a simple, powerful framework to carve out the space you need to filter out the noise, make the right decisions, and lead with clarity. Visit presentretreat.com.
Let's get back to the conversation with Rihab Abouzaki, an expert in GCC US advertising for tourism, luxury, travel, and real estate brands. I'm a big believer in finding something that feels right, looks right, sounds right with an end, because then if it turns out to be triple awesome, great. But if it turns out to be a triple dud, great, right?
Yes, and this great in the condition that you can control the budget. Always like advertisers pay for those spots. Advertisers pay for this fortune. So or maybe peanuts, whatever is your budget. The problem is when the budget is spent and the return on investment is not as impressive. This is why the new technologies all are serving the return on investment, monitoring and improvement and testing, all this just to get better results, faster leads, and more reliable outcome.
And having a smart budget, spending smart dollars, or whatever the currency is, one of the things that comes to my mind is the outcome. The goal isn't necessarily an extraordinary customer experience. That is one of the outcomes, though. That is a result that is measurable in its own right. And so, what does an extraordinary customer experience in the digital market, whether we're a digital company or a physical product company, regardless of where we're starting, what are some key elements of that extraordinary experience for customers?
To find you, this is the best first move is be available, show up in front of your customers, work on showing up. And showing up now is not anymore Google Ads, it's not anymore Google ranking, it's more of showing up in content, like create content so that people can find you, can relate, and of course answer questions for AI, do YouTube content, do TV advertising. Streaming TV is extremely important so that people can find you.
So let's take that in a different way too, right? Because another thing that can happen is it has been working and all of a sudden it doesn't. That's when I have seen real freakouts occur, Rehab.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, what are your tips or experiences to show up to that when it occurs? Because if it hasn't, it will, won't it?
Every business has seasons. People think that seasons are just for consumer produce or something, but actually also inquiries and seasons of high return on investment and seasons of low return on investment are available in every sector. And to avoid that is not to get stuck on the low seasons, to pump more money into low seasons. Like for example, if you have no schools at the time, like in the summer, no schools, there is no point in adding much more advertising for a school item. You need to save the time, prepare to the higher season. Do not focus on one message, one season. I have to make it in every way. It doesn't work like that. Seasons are very real in every product, even in coaching. For example, if you have starting a university semesters, it's not the best time to approach moms for a paid service, and similar. So similar for other stuff. You cannot advertise during a season of out of town vacations and so on. So it is wise to accept your low seasons and prepare and invest more in the high seasons or in the expected more availability of target market.
What's one of your biggest learnings having been in advertising and marketing for so long?
My biggest learning is try everything. Do not get attached to mediums or anything. Keep a very open mind because my best ideas can go to nowhere, and a surprising small idea can become viral and can get much more results and be authentic. People are now very much catching up into on authenticity. They don't want to talk to liars anymore. They have been cheated around for very long time online, especially.
One of the companies that I started early in my career we did just that. It was a software program, right? It was a platform online, and we kept getting these requests. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And Ryan and I, partners in this company, along with a couple of other people, would sit down and I'd be like, why not? And sounds easy. And of course, nothing is easy when it comes to actually building it and maintaining it and supporting it per se. So there was always the thing of, we got to make sure it supports more than one or two people. It's got to support the majority of the people using our system. And finally, I can't even remember if it was him or me or if it was one of our other partners, said, how much time is it going to take? If we can do it and we know it's not going to take a lot of time and we can do it in a way that's not going to hold up or interfere with any other feature we have so far, why not just try it? So I'm going to give us the collective we got there. Why not just try it? Turned out to be the biggest feature. To your point and to one of your learnings, I was like, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, when we started first, we started with the idea of we want to do everything perfect, and we took softwares that, especially the CRM. Now the CRM is complete mess. So we took like the biggest in the market. It came up the worst, and we had to pay 1 year subscription for really nothing, and it hurts. It hurts when you subscribe for those well advertised softwares and features and gurus and coaches. And yeah, don't go by that. Just be, if you are a company, be authentic to your client. And if you are a client, just be aware that advertising is not always true.
Oh man, I'm telling you, we got to learn that one over and over again. And it doesn't matter who we are. And that brings up a really good point, though. I'm thinking strategically, right? As a group of people, it's not like we're the leaders of our own lives here. We are in our own lives when we go to work and we're leading these companies and we're responsible and the buck stops with us at the highest level of the organization. It's no longer typically one person at that point. It is a team. It is a group. I don't know if the groups are always teams, which is why I said both. The goal is to have a team, right? That's the ultimate goal. And I think that's also the ultimate challenge. And in today's world, everybody has their own perspective. Everybody has their own way to go. We still face that in companies today. So finding that common ground to go, if this is where we have common ground, maybe this is where we start with this approach, this perspective, this experiment, this technology, and then watch and see, to your point of not needing to go super fast, because I think that common ground gets us pretty far in terms of what works, what really doesn't work, and what works for one of us doesn't necessarily work for the team. And that's something that we always have to remember too, because whatever we choose as the leadership, it is going to have a trickle down effect.
I'll tell you what, now every service, every software we use, we tell them that we're gonna publish our experience. Like we're gonna make a review video and publish our reviews and advertise our reviews, because I don't want anyone to talk to me when
Yes.
they are not delivering what they are promising to deliver. And
Yeah.
that's how I treat every client. I tell them, if we don't perform or if we don't show you our best and make sure that we are on your page all the time, worrying about your money just like ours, I want you to advertise. I don't mind.
Yeah. I think that's really smart. There's a straightforwardness in that too. And I'm on board with being straightforward all the way.
You know, when someone comes and advertise online and they tell you everything is perfect, and then you talk to them and you subscribe or take the service, and then 2, 3 months down the line, you are only losing money. There is no performance. Their product is not working, whether it's an app, whether it's a software, whether it's CRM, website service, whatever it is, coach, trainer, anything. I want to advertise my reviews. I want to tell the world my experience, and it's a free world. I need to do that. And the same I expect from others. But we are ready for all challenges.
And not everybody's path looks the same. Progress can still be measured, though, can't it? And that, I think, is the key piece too. Communication, transparency, a willingness to be like, yeah, be talking to me along the way. Yeah, I'm going to be talking to you along the way, and being able to say that. And it actually leads me into this. There's this concept of the way we do our work together internally. And those typically, even if we don't want them to, have unwritten agreements, right? There are things that nobody talks about, but that we do. And what I hear you saying right now is, hey, we can actually influence that when we practice a habit of being straightforward, being clear in our communication, working together the best that we can, knowing that there might be bumps along the way. We're doing that. We're defining how we do our work together, which means we can then avoid unwritten agreements so that nobody's taken by surprise.
Yes, and also after COVID and all what's happening around us, so now authenticity of accepting people as they are, and not corporate has changed. Now we are more into accepting people just like they are. I made a mistake, let's move on. We always do mistakes and it's okay. And we don't have to cover it up, to hide, to become politically correct or corporate correct. Just be yourself and accept that others can make mistakes. And like I said, I always say, advertise your opinion of me.
I'm thinking about driving these solutions forward. The solution is in this case, the advertising path, the clear plan, some sort of expectation of budget, some sort of expected outcome, and then the actual execution to gather the data to learn and make changes and work toward getting that expected outcome, right? And so there's a strategy itself, then there's the actual execution piece. How much of driving the solutions is each of them?
Actually, we start from the results. We do not start from the strategy. And this is one of the biggest mistakes of companies who start from strategy and then start fitting in solutions. You start from the outcome. How many pieces I want to sell? How many clients I want to talk to daily? How many leads I want to get per week? How many services I want to give? And then we start backwards so that we can get, if you want to talk to 100 people a week, you need to be in, for example, 3 surrounding states. So you need to have this geographic location target, this age group, this level of engagement. So we start from the results into the strategy. To reach this strategy, you need to then talk to several mediums. It's about starting from the end. There's a lot of wisdom in starting from the end result.
Yes, because if we don't know where we're going, it's cool to try a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But there are a million ways to do it right, and there's a million ways to do it wrong.
And all expensive. All the ways are calculated, even if it's your time. It's not always about money. Sometimes it's your time. We tried this when we became clients to other companies, and we said we need 50 leads a week. It was a big target, but we wanted to test them, and we really paid them. One of the companies, we paid them $14,000 just to get us 50 clients a week. And we knew it's not possible. We were just testing them. They got us 0 because we let them make all the mistakes they wanted just because we were creating a case study for our people, for our clients. See what happens when you don't work with the right agency, when you don't work with the right partner. So we have everything documented.
I want to know what makes it bold, Rihab. What makes it bold to prioritize building that authenticity, that human connection in an increasingly fast-paced world and automated advertising?
It depends where do you want to reach. The boldness of your actions should come from the results of your target market. You need to study your market, and based on that, calculate your bold steps. Because bold has to be wise. It's not only hunch. It's though I believe in intuition and I work a lot with intuition, especially in advertising, the intuition of what clicks, what moves the market, and all is important. But also, as long when statistics have it, take it forward. Do not hesitate. The problem is when you hesitate, say, I want to be on the top 100 movies in the US, and then you find my budget was 7,000 a month and it requires 10,000. That is a hesitation that is killing your market, because when the calculations of statistics say it, just either trust it or don't move. Don't do half steps. This is bold. It requires a lot of wisdom and risk taking and risk management.
And that brings us to the close of another powerful and fresh perspective on the Bold Business Podcast. In today's volatile landscape, growth is a double-edged sword. To truly thrive, you must engage with your strategy, not just react to the day-to-day. Without absolute alignment, your company faces a stark choice: outmaneuver or be outmaneuvered, grow or get left behind. Thank you for listening, and a special thanks to the Scott Treatment for technical production.